So what is tech debt? You may have heard the term tech debt, aka technology debt, design debt, or code debt. Anyway, it's a term that's commonly used to describe a situation where an organization is using a technology solution that, well, isn't necessarily the best available. But what does it mean, and is it a specific definition? I know this will come as a shock to many of you, but there really isn't a specific definition. But tech debt is a term that is most commonly used to describe an organization's current use of technology, but one that is lacking. And guess what? Lacking is in the eye of the beholder, and sometimes the timing of the beholder. But here's the fun part. Usually when we talk about a situation involving tech debt, the solution in place works, mostly. Often an organization continues to use that solution because the tech debt aspect doesn't create enough pain to warrant fixing the solution. What are some examples of tech debt? I know you want to know. So, 1. Software that hasn't been upgraded for several versions. The providers of the software are less and less willing to support it, or won't even, except for a lot of money. And your organization can't use the new features. But it works, your people are used to it, and the company has saved a lot of money by not paying support fees. Number 2, hardware that only connects to old PCs. Oh, manufacturing, we love you. But let's take a shop floor machine that provides data directly to a PC, but that PC must be running an old version of Windows 7, XP, ask your parents, which aren't supported by Microsoft, let alone many security software vendors. But the device works, it makes your organization money, and would cost tens of thousands of dollars to replace. Number 3, you're running an old server, Windows Server 2008, or even small business server, again ask your parents, or desktop software simply because. Number 4, no training of your employees on security, let alone implementing any kind of meaningful security strategy because, change is hard. Number 5, there's no documentation of fill-in-the-blank business or technology process. But that's okay because fill-in-the-blank name of critical employee knows everything about that. And then they leave. Oops. Think an Excel worksheet that nobody knows how or why it does what it does. Number 6, no way to test changes to software and or technical processes. Just make the change and hope for the best. What could go wrong? My favorite example of tech debt? That's easy, Y2K. Keep in mind that when I started programming back in the late 70s on computers, the first computer I ever programmed on had a whopping 4K of RAM memory. That's 4,000 bytes or letters. So you bet we only use 2 numbers or bytes to define a year. So anyway, what do you do about tech debt? Well, riddle me this, Batman. How do you deal with fiscal debt? You recognize when you have it and you prioritize plans to either implement solutions or ways to minimize the damage and or the vulnerability, if not the debt itself. For example, the manufacturing company doesn't want to spend $50,000 on a new floor device, but will spend some time making sure that the old computer it's connected to is isolated from the network for security purposes, and we have access to replacement hardware and software in case that Windows XP box goes belly up, which it will. Tech debt isn't necessarily created through incompetence, laziness, or even being cheap. But ignoring tech debt, that's a different story. Just like tech debt as a drinking game can be a different story.